Tomorrow changes everything for millions of UK drivers. If you use a motorway even once a month, what you are about to hear could genuinely save your license, your wallet, and possibly your life. Smart motorways have been quietly upgraded, enforcement has been tightened, and the penalties are bigger than most drivers realize. And here is the thing that nobody is talking about loudly enough. The rules are already in force, the cameras are already watching, and the vast majority of drivers are still operating on outdated knowledge they picked up years ago. So right now, in the next few minutes, I am going to walk you through 5 smart motorway rules that every UK driver absolutely must know in 2026. Stay with me until the end because the final one catches out even experienced drivers every single time. Before we get into it, let me paint you a picture. You are cruising along the M1. Traffic is moving. You glance up at the overhead gantry, you see a red X above the lane to your left. You think to yourself it looks completely clear, there is nobody stopping you, and you drift across. What you do not know is that a camera has just clocked you. Within seconds, an automatic fine is heading your way. Not just a fine either, 6 penalty points landing on your license. And if you passed your test less than 2 years ago, that is your license gone. Revoked. Just like that. That is not a worst-case scenario. That is a Tuesday morning on the M6. So let us make sure it never happens to you. Let us start with the red X, because this is the one rule that has changed most significantly and the one that is causing the most damage to driver records right now. A red X displayed on an overhead gantry above a lane means that lane is closed. Full stop. It does not mean slow down. It does not mean use your judgment. It means do not enter that lane under any circumstances. The penalty for ignoring a red X is a £100 fixed penalty notice and 6 points on your license, and these cameras operate automatically around the clock with zero tolerance. There is no grace period, there is no leeway, and there is nobody exercising human judgment at the point of enforcement. The camera fires, the ticket is generated, and it arrives at your address. Here is why this matters so much right now. The enhanced penalties that came into force in 2026 increased red X violations to 6 penalty points, up from 3 points previously, meaning new drivers face instant license revocations through the 6-point totting up rules after a single violation. That doubling of points is enormous. Before this change, getting caught under a red X was painful, but survivable. Now, for anyone within their first 2 years of driving, one mistake ends your ability to drive legally. But even for experienced drivers, accumulate 2 of these in a short space of time, and you are looking at a totting up ban. The question a lot of drivers ask is why would a lane be closed when it looks perfectly clear from where I am sitting? The answer is almost always the same. A vehicle has stopped somewhere ahead of you. The system has detected it. The lane has been closed to protect that person. And if you drive through that red X, you could be the vehicle that kills them. Now let us talk about what actually happens when your car stops on a smart motorway, because this is where the second critical rule comes in, and where genuine life and death decisions get made in seconds. On an all-lane running smart motorway, there is no permanent hard shoulder. The road surface to the left of the near-side running lane leads directly to the hard verge or barrier. There is no wide tarmac strip where you can roll to a stop and wait safely for help. That hard shoulder has been converted into a live running lane. What you have instead are emergency refuge areas, and knowing how to find one and use one is not optional knowledge. It is survival knowledge. Emergency refuge areas are identified by their orange surfacing and a blue sign carrying an SOS telephone symbol, and on upgraded sections they are spaced approximately every 1 to 1.6 miles apart. As you approach one, you will see blue countdown markers at 300 meters, 200 meters, and 100 meters. The moment you sense any problem with your vehicle, a warning light, a strange noise, a loss of power, a tire that does not feel right, your only job is to reach the next emergency refuge area. Put your hazard lights on immediately, stay in the left lane, and drive to that orange bay. Do not stop in the live lane because you think you can sort the problem out quickly. Do not pull over on what used to be the hard shoulder, because on an all-lane running section that is now a live lane with vehicles traveling at 70 miles an hour behind you, get to the orange bay. That is the rule. If the worst happens and your vehicle comes to a complete stop before you can reach an emergency refuge area, the third rule becomes critical, and it goes against every instinct you have. If you cannot reach an emergency refuge area, you should pull as far left as possible onto any available verge or the extreme left of the near side lane. Switch on all hazard lights and exit the vehicle via the passenger door. If it is safe to do so, then move behind the barrier or as far from the carriageway as possible. You heard that correctly. You need to get out of the car. Sitting in your vehicle in a live lane on a smart motorway is one of the most dangerous things you can do on a UK road, because if another driver fails to see you, there's nothing protecting you but a sheet of metal. Behind the barrier, you are separated from live traffic. In the car, you are not. Once you are safe behind that barrier, call 999 immediately and give your location. The stopped vehicle detection system uses radar sensors that automatically identify stationary vehicles on the carriageway and should trigger a lane closure overhead within approximately 20 seconds of the vehicle stopping on equipped sections. That 20-second window is not comfort, though. It is a reminder that for those 20 seconds, you are in a live lane with no protection. Getting yourself behind a barrier removes you from that danger entirely. Do not stand at the roadside waiting. Do not attempt to fix the vehicle. Do not sit in the driver's seat scrolling your phone for the breakdown number. Get out, get behind the barrier, and then make your call. The fourth rule is one that thousands of UK drivers get wrong every single week, and it relates to variable speed limits. On a smart motorway, the speed limit displayed on the overhead gantry in a red circle is not a suggestion. It is a mandatory legal limit for that stretch of road enforced by average speed cameras. This catches people out because many drivers treat these limits the way they might treat a temporary roadworks speed limit on an ordinary road, with mild skepticism and a light foot on the brake. That approach will get you fined on a smart motorway. What also catches people out is the blank sign. A blank overhead gantry on a smart motorway means no restriction applies in that lane, and the national speed limit of 70 miles per hour applies. So the sign is not broken. It is not a glitch. A blank panel is telling you that you are free to travel at up to 70. The confusion comes when drivers see blank signs and think they should slow down because something must be wrong. Nothing is wrong. Keep flowing at the appropriate speed. Pay attention to the next gantry and match your speed to whatever limit is being shown above your specific lane. National Highways has confirmed there is a slight lag between when the speed limit is changed and when the cameras begin to enforce that new limit, to give drivers time to reduce speed at a sensible rate. However, that window can be as short as 10 seconds, so do not assume you have time to gradually wind down your speed over the next half mile. 10 seconds at 70 miles an hour covers roughly 300 meters. When you see a limit change on the gantry above you, begin reducing your speed immediately and smoothly. A lot of drivers get caught because they see the new limit, acknowledge it mentally, and then take too long to actually respond to it physically. The camera does not care that you saw the sign. It only cares what speed you were traveling when you passed it. The fifth rule is the one that surprises experienced drivers the most, and it is the one that combines technology with personal responsibility in a way that people genuinely underestimate. By 2026, the stopped vehicle detection radar now covers more than 95% of all lane-running smart motorway sections across the UK network. The system uses radar to detect when a vehicle has stopped in a live lane and automatically triggers a red X to close that lane, typically within 20 seconds of the vehicle stopping. This is a massive improvement on the old system, which required a control room operator to physically spot a stopped car on CCTV and manually activate the lane closure. That could take minutes. 20 seconds is transformative. But here is the critical part that drivers need to genuinely absorb. Stopped vehicle detection is not infallible. Technology fails. Radar sensors go offline. Camera systems have outages. A Freedom of Information request revealed that at some locations, detection equipment was out of action for up to 5 days at a time without drivers ever knowing. And instances of technology failure have contributed to fatalities on smart motorways. Between 2010 and 2024, at least 79 people were killed on smart motorways. And research has found that drivers who break down in a live lane on an all-lane running motorway are around 3 times more likely to be killed or seriously injured compared with those on roads with a permanent hard shoulder. The technology is better than it was. It is not good enough to rely on exclusively. That means your behavior behind the wheel on a smart motorway cannot be passive. You cannot drive through a left-hand lane at 70 miles an hour while checking your mirrors for whatever just happened on the radio, assuming the radar will always give you a red X before you encounter a problem. You have to stay alert, maintain adequate stopping distance, particularly in the left lane, and treat every smart motorway journey with the level of active attention it demands. A January 2026 survey of AA members found that driver anxiety on all lane-running motorways continues to increase year on year, and that confidence on conventional motorways with permanent hard shoulders remains significantly higher. That anxiety is rational. The roads are genuinely different. They require a different level of attention and a different set of habits. Knowing these 5 rules and genuinely applying them every single time you join a smart motorway is how you make that awareness work for you rather than against you. So let us bring all of this together before you go anywhere near a motorway again. Rule 1. The red X is an absolute lane closure enforced automatically with 6 penalty points and a 100-pound fine. Do not ever enter a red X lane regardless of how clear it appears. Rule 2. Emergency refuge areas are your only safe haven on an all-lane running motorway, and the moment anything feels wrong with your vehicle, your single goal is to reach the next orange bay. Rule 3. If you cannot reach an emergency refuge area and your car stops in a live lane, get out via the passenger door, get behind the barrier, get away from live traffic, and then call 999. Do not stay in the vehicle. Rule 4. Variable speed limits on gantry signs are mandatory. The cameras are fast, and a blank sign means the national speed limit applies, so do not slow down unnecessarily. Rule 5. The radar detection system is powerful, but it is not perfect, and your active attention on a smart motorway is not optional. It is the last line of defense between you and a very serious situation. The roads have changed, the enforcement has changed, the penalties have changed, and if your knowledge has not kept up with those changes, today is the day to fix that. Share this with someone who drives on motorways regularly. It takes 30 seconds and it could genuinely make a difference. If you learned something today, or if there is a driving topic you want me to cover next, drop it in the comments below. I read every single one, and your suggestions directly shape what comes next. Stay sharp out there, look after each other on the road, and please subscribe to my channel so you never miss the driving knowledge that could protect your license, your money, and your life.